Hi, my name is Michelle and welcome to my channel. There has been a few weeks since my last video update, and the reason for that is because we have welcomed a new little family member. Our little girl Luella is finally here, and she was born on the 30th of January 2020. And we have definitely taken our time to try to settle into new routines, and I can tell you that the first 1 or 2 weeks was a struggle. Anyway. I'm not going to talk about that in my first experience or my experience as a new mother, but I'm going to tell you about my birth experience in this video, and everything that I can remember. I'm sure I'm going to forget a few things, but I thought it would be cool to document at least the story of how our little girl came to this world. As you know, if you've seen my previous videos, you will know that I had a planned cesarean because my little girl was laying in a footling breech position. So she was stuck and... oh, she's crying. Anyway, so planned cesarean. So it was challenging because I was not allowed to eat or drink anything, I think 6 hours before the surgery at least. So I was pretty hungry and pretty, thirsty. I wasn't even allowed to drink water, I think. So yeah, that was a little hard. I arrived at the hospital on January the 30th around 12, and I think we had our time or appointment at 12:30. Even though we waited a bit longer than that, and I was the second one in the afternoon, so I didn't have to wait that long. During the time that we were waiting for our turn, I changed into hospital clothes, and so did my husband, because he was going to be in the theater room with me. And we were just waiting, and it felt unreal. I wasn't really feeling like I was going to meet my daughter. It was still very surreal. We were sitting there and meeting a lot of different midwives, and also the primary midwives that we had during this whole pregnancy, and also the doctor who was going to, or doctors who were going to do the surgery. And still, it was mixed feelings. We were happy and excited, and at the same time we were also feeling almost like you were dreaming. Are we really going to do this? Are we really going to get it to see our little girl today? So it was really cool and almost undescribable feeling that during that time. While we were waiting, we were also listening to the baby's heart and making sure that her heartbeat and everything was in a good pattern and everything. So far so good. And then it was finally time for surgery. So me and my husband went to the theatre room. My husband were not allowed into the theatre room straight away, so he had to wait outside, and I went in with my primary midwife and got to meet a lot of other people there. I think it was a mix of midwives, doctors, and different kinds of doctors. I can't remember all the names, and especially not in English. But yeah, I think it must have been 6 to 8 people in that room. I could be wrong, but yeah, it felt like a lot of people. And then before my husband were allowed in, they were going to put in the epidural, I think, and spinal epidural. I'm not sure of the name, so don't quote me on this. But yeah, I had to be numb from basically my chest or underneath my chest and down, obviously, because they were going to cut me open. And also I was given... I don't know how to pronounce this, but a catheter, I don't know, like a little bag, I guess, so because I wouldn't be able to go to the bathroom by myself, if you know what I mean. Anyway, and before everything, I also got to make a little quick ultrasound to make sure that the baby was still in a breech position, so that we really had to go through with the cesarean, because if she for some reason would have turned, we would have gone back to plan A, which were a vaginal birth. But she was still footling breech, and the planned cesarean were still going to take place at that time or at that point. When it was finally time for the surgery to happen, my husband was then allowed into the room. So I was basically laying there with my hands on each side, and having this, I was covered in front so I couldn't see when they were cutting me, or when they were going to do the surgery. And my husband he had to sit here next to me, next to my head basically. And when they started with the surgery, I didn't even feel anything. I didn't even know that they had started to cut me up. I felt that they were doing something around my belly area, but I didn't know that I was already being, I'm gonna say cut me up a lot in this video, I think. Anyway, my husband were very supportive. The whole room it was a really good vibe in the whole room. Everyone was so professional, super calm. And I had read that it wasn't going to take too long to get the baby out, but it took a little longer than I was expecting. And I at that point knew that there was something, maybe I don't know if I would call it complications, or but it was something not quite right, I think, I was thinking at that point. And my husband was very supportive. He said he was trying to talk me through it. He was saying like, oh, we see one foot and now we see the second foot, and oh, the bum is out, and blah blah blah. And they had a little trouble getting her out because there was so much fluid as well. So I think they vacuumed it up at the same time. So that also made it take a little longer than it should. But then I think she got she was stuck in my ribs, and so they had a little hard time like trying to pull her out. And then I think when they had her in the almost out, I think she was a little stuck with her shoulders, and then they started to see that she had the umbilical cord around her neck, and then they saw that it was around her neck twice. And my husband didn't tell me this, but he was just saying like, oh, they're doing a great job, she's almost out. And I was like laying there and being obviously a little concerned, but tried to like be calm at the same time, because there wasn't really anything I would have been able to do at that point anyway. I didn't hear her scream at that time, and obviously that made me a bit nervous and scared. So I don't know if I held my breath, but I was a bit like quiet at that time, because I think I was waiting for her to scream. So I knew that they took her out and then took her straight to the table where the midwife was, my primary midwife was. And I knew that we had asked for a delayed clamping of the umbilical cord, but I know that they didn't do that because they took her straight from my belly to the table. So I knew that something was not going right. And then I don't know exactly what they did. I think they gave her a shot of adrenaline or something, and then I could hear her scream, and I was then at that point starting to relax and cry a bit. And I knew that everything was fine at that point. But it was really scary knowing that she was in the wrong position with her feet down, and apparently stuck with her head in my ribs. And then on top of all that, she had the umbilical cord around her neck twice. So it's a lot, and I am so happy I wasn't aware of this at that specific time. I was told, my husband told me this later. And then they took her to my head, and I got to look at her, and the first thing I was thinking is, why is she blonde? She was so fair-skinned, so blonde, blue eyes, and I was just expecting a darker baby because I'm not that, blonde myself. I do, my natural hair color is a little bit light brown, but I wasn't expecting this light little baby. But at the same time, she was gorgeous, and I was so happy. My husband got to go and cut the umbilical cord that was left. You know what I mean, like he got to cut it a bit. And he left the room then with her, and while they were stitching me up, basically I got to have her a little bit, hold her a bit as well before they went away to our birth suite, or like our room, basically. Not birth suite, it's called something else. Anyway, our room, and we got a single room, like we didn't have to share it with anyone, which was also amazing. Like felt like such a luxury. And it was also good because that meant that my husband could stay the night, the 2 nights actually that I stayed there. So that was good as well. So they stitched me up and then rolled me into the room, and I got to see them and got to hold her. and straight away, you know, they tried to latch her on her breast and everything, and that was not an easy experience, I must say. I'll talk about that in another video, so I'll keep this to just the birth story. But yeah, then I guess that's it. She was born and she was here, and it was unreal. I could still not understand that was my little girl, and we made her and she's here. So that's my story, that's my birth story. And yeah, I would say overall everything went very smoothly, everyone was very professional, some drama, but overall she was healthy, she is healthy and happy, and we are so blessed to have her in our lives. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If not, I hope you're having a really good day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!